Welcome! There's a series of games where jumping around with mask, sword, and magic helps with revenge, and being constantly betrayed, and then you get more revenge. This is the saga of the series of games named Dishonored. If a game is advertised as action, the last two things you'll expect is stealth and a great storyline. This game manages to do that 3 times. The original game kicks off with the Lord Protector Corvo returning to the Empire's capital after being asked to find a solution to a colossal rat plague. Also, I can already tell who the villain is, so obvious. I delivered the report to the Empress that sadly shows there's no help for the rats. As soon as those bad news set in, assassins teleport into the castle and I have to defend both Princess and Empress. Except, I can't do much against magic. The Empress dies and the Princess is taken on my watch. Just before dying, the Empress asks that I fix everything, but I get immediately framed for all of this. Well, time for jail and torture, including having to listen to the obvious villain's obvious plan. Though it seems I have friends outside, and they are willing to help me get my revenge. I escape my cell and immediately knock every guard unconscious onto a pile. I like imagining them waking up wondering, not again. Then I'll take a confiscated explosive device to open a hole on the prison's gate. Now, I can get violent and kill everyone in my sight, or just stick to the shadows, which is better, and I'll talk about that later. Now it's time to set the explosive, run from the blast, run back to the hole with the guards chasing me, and then jump in the water. Hollywood-style escape, complete. In the sewers, my allies left new instructions, but I faced the rat problem head on. These fellas ain't just stealing cheese. Good thing I also get my gear back, my one-handed crossbow for range, and my folding sword for, well, stabbing. Now I just need to dodge traps and assassinate my way out of here. And there he is, good old Samuel, the man hired to take me back to the Resistance. That's Admiral Havelock and Lord Pendleton. But also Piero, a genius inventor who designs my mask but also sells my upgrades. More ammo, more damage, what every assassin needs. But later that night I meet the dark entity everyone calls the Outsider, who gives me magic because seeing me get revenge is entertaining for him. And while magic would have been enough, he also gives me a mechanical heart that can track runes and other secrets. Now, runes are the currency used to buy more power, so that's useful. But because of this strange visit, I can also unlock unique skills using bone charms, like jumping higher or taking less damage. Now, let's get down to it. Time to take my first target down on the revenge list. The streets are crawling with rats and guards, but also characters asking for my help in exchange for rewards. Sure enough, it's good to get more runes or blueprints for upgrades from a black market, but side missions change the game, and I'm almost getting to that part, I promise. Using my magic, it's easy to bypass security checkpoints, rescue a member of the Resistance, and get in the fortress unnoticed. Then I can either fight, stab, or poison my target to then complete my escape, or I can avoid killing him, which is difficult, but again, there's a point to this. First off, it avoids raising alarms, which makes my escape much easier. But what this really is about is karma. The mission end screen will show just how chaotic or ruthless I was, and even which characters I helped along the way, and all of it will impact the rest of the game. For example, when I come back for my next 2 targets, the local mob offers a non-lethal way to do it because now they need my help. They even share a secret way to get to the princess, whose rescue is as much a priority as bloody revenge or helping those who helped me. The Admiral is impressed, but asks me to go from rescue to abduction. The Crown's chief inventor Sokolov is hiding in his lab, and we need him to find the next target. Again, having ninja powers helps, and extracting Sokolov feels too easy. No alarms, no kills. The plan is to torture Sokolov, but I find a way to get his help. He tells me of a fancy party where my target is. Now, to avoid killing the lady, I help kidnap her, which is creepy, but it gets me to my final target. And, because of all my careful choices, the traitor feels it's safe to go to bed, so I move fast up to his bedroom where I'll put him to sleep for good. And good night! Back at base, everyone's having a drink and celebrating the new Empress. But this is a saga of constant betrayal, remember? I've been poisoned, and if it wasn't for Samuel, I'd be dead. Floating down the river, I'm rescued by the assassins that killed the Empress. So yeah, things aren't going to get better, especially when they take my gear away again. But I still have my mask, so Corvo goes to get revenge once more. Which he does, because by the time of Dishonored 2, Emily sits on the throne and Corvo teaches her how to protect herself in case of more betrayal. Sure, she doesn't have his powers, but Emily is becoming just as good on everything else, even besting Corvo when crossing swords. Though, not even all the training in the world could prevent what's about to happen. It's the day of celebration of the former empress, but there's a rumor that Corvo is killing Emily's political opposition. So in the middle of that unrest, the new empress goes to attend the ceremony with Corvo by her side. Just as they're done paying their respects, the ceremony is interrupted by the arrival of the Duke of Serkonos, who announces the real empress. Apparently Emily's mother has a sister who now demands everyone obey her. Corvo doesn't care, starts chopping traitors with his powers, only to find Delilah is godlike, even taking away his magic. And with that, both Emily and Corvo stand on the same level. No more magic. But whoever I choose, the other character will be taken out of the picture. Yes, here I am getting betrayed once again. As soon as I wake up, it's time to leave and get some fresh revenge. And over in the next room, I recover my sword from a dying friend, so I can go take care of the man who turned the guard against me. Even without magic, he's no match, so I take back the ring he stole because it allows me to open a secret way out of the palace. Oh, hello old friends. Now, since I won't be able to hide in the capital like last time, everyone is looking for me, this is a good excuse to have a new map for the second game. And there's a ship that might do the trick. The captain just so happens to be a friend of Sokolov's. Speaking of old friends, I dream about the Void again, and of course I'm visited by its ruling dark entity. This time I can choose if I want the Outsider's gifts, which of course I do, but it's nice to have the option. Same powers from the first game, but now they have upgrade branches, meaning I need to be smart about how I spend my runes. Powers or not, the capital is lost, and the only lead I have is the killer pretending to be Corvo. It's time to find who that is, and once again pay attention to my choices to avoid things turning even worse. Much like the first game, right? True, some things don't change. The Outsider keeps showing up, there's still a plague roaming around, guards can still be very oblivious, and vaults can still be broken into using the clues I found around the level. But for some reason things feel different. Maybe because the levels feel more open with more unique characters and locations, or maybe even because there was a lot more effort in terms of backstories. It's common for dialogue between NPCs to offer a clue to complete a mission. And on this mission, the best clue to finding the crown killer is a doctor's assistant. Poor guy barely says a word before it's clear the doctor has a Jekyll and Hyde thing going on due to some poison she took. Again, I can kill her or cure her to avoid a more tragic end. Okay, one problem sorted, and I even find clues towards my next target. The man behind Sokolov's disappearance, who also turns out to be the creator of the mechanical soldiers that attacked the palace. From sewers to back alleys dodging street gangs and guards, I find my way to the carriage station. My plan is to take a carriage so it takes me all the way to the mansion where I can find both Sokolov and my target. Of course, I can always make a stop for some side missions or visit the black market for some upgrades. Now, for the mansion. Well, it's not a mansion. It's a huge maze where trespassers are tested. That means surviving a bunch of these steel and wood nightmares and guards and deadly traps. So, nope, I'll pass. And instead I'll use the maintenance passages behind the walls. Sokolov, well, he's trapped in a maze with shifting walls, and when I do get to him, I think he's seen better days, so I like to take care of him first. There, and back to the target. I guess it would be fun to turn his creations against him, but maybe frying his brain and wiping all that dangerous knowledge seems more fitting. Little deja vu leaving with Sokolov, but this time I have Captain Megan's thanks. But that same night I get a visit from the new Empress. Quite the angry monologue, must mean I'm close to the end. Even the ghost of the Empress seems to agree. But there are still a lot of questions hanging. How did Delilah get so powerful? How does Sokolov know Delilah? How does Sokolov know Megan? Actually, come to think of it, who is Megan? The Dishonored spin-off reveals she's Billy Lurk, an assassin from the first game that, despite not having magic, has her own talents. The whole game ties a bunch of loose ends, for Billy mostly, but also for the man who killed the Empress, and ultimately for everyone's favorite Dark Entity, because he's what Dishonored is all about. And Betrayal, and magic. Well, it's also a series of action games that seem to reward stealth over combat, although with solid gameplay on both. But the deep twisted story happens because the outsider, like the player, must be entertained. Thank you for, joining me on the Saga of Dishonored. Remember to leave a like if shadows and sneaking are your thing. Dishonored is great, lots of memorable moments. Leave a comment, I want to know your favorite. Of course, not everyone is into assassins and betrayal, but that's okay, there's other stuff in this channel. And if you like the content or find yourself sneaking back for more, then hey, go ahead and subscribe. Feeling tired of life's betrayals? I get it. come check my social media for a quick distraction. The void is calling. See ya.